Hey, shalom, grace and peace. Great to see everybody. Great to have another talk today. Thanks for tuning in. Today, I figured I would show another DNA video. Why not? Because last time I already went into my haplogroups in depth. So I figured why not show you guys the admixture then. I spoke on it very briefly before. I even have a video of me sharing my DNA results on a whole different channel. But on this channel, I figured why not share them from this new perspective that I've been coming into, and share it with you guys. So yeah, let's jump into that. All right. So first off, here you see the map in the back. This is my geographic distribution of my admixture results. And first and foremost, as you see, West Africa is where I get the majority of my DNA, with Nigeria, broadly West African, and Sierra Leone. And I also have a little piece in East Africa in Kenya, which they identified as Maasai. Now, this is MyHeritage, but I do believe it to be very, very accurate as well. My thoughts about it actually went up as I've been combining it with my haplogroup research. I was like, this is actually interesting. But nevertheless, I also think it's interesting on the African side, because I'm not sure if I shared this with you guys yet, but my maternal haplogroup, maybe I'll go into it in a video, maybe not. It's not really Khazarian related, but it's L1b1, and that's found in populations such as Mande speaking groups and like Fula groups as well, groups of like West Africa, the West African region. So the MyHeritage even picked that up. But I think it's interesting that on the European side, as you see, we have Finnish, Ireland, Scottish, Wales, and Ashkenazi Jewish. And it's almost as if it picked up that from my paternal haplogroup, because it's found in Eastern Europe, including Hungarian populations, which we have talked about. This Finno-Ugric, Turkic, Slavic group, that R1A Z280. You see that Finno in there, that Finland. So I think that's interesting. And we also see that connecting with Celtic people and over in the Ireland area. A lot of the Eastern European plains, the Carpathians and such, were filled up with Celtic people beforehand. And you even had Vikings and such later on who had R1A lineages, a lot of them coming from the same areas as the Rus Khazar area, and settling in that area as well. So that's interesting. We're not really talking about the percentages in this video, but mainly just observing what it says. I think it's interesting that I have this haplogroup R1A Z280, which goes back to Eastern Europe, but I don't have any Eastern European in this MyHeritage admixture result. Matter of fact, I took in none of my results in any test that I took, well, except for the GEDmatch results, which is what I'm going to share with you. But in my other tests, I took a living DNA test, which is where I got my haplogroup. And it's pretty much the same as this. The Ashkenazi Jewish, I believe that percent got changed to Arabia. But the haplogroup is Eastern European, but there's no blue. The yellow circle should be blue for Eastern European, but it's yellow, which is the Ashkenazi Jewish, which led to my hypothesis that maybe this haplogroup came from a Jewish person, because my last name in my city, I guess it's a poppin' Jewish family with that same last name. I never really thought much of it. Like, there's a street, there's a place here, and there's a street that has the same name as my pops. But I know that street ain't named after him. It's probably named after somebody in their family. But that's just funny. And you know how the Most High be having jokes too. But anyway, we're just looking through, and I want to share with you guys GEDmatch results. GEDmatch is a very popular platform. So as I share the results, I want to talk about the different test results, because in GEDmatch there's different calculators, they call them. So we'll read about each one and then look at what it matched me as. But the MyHeritage is what I mainly look at, as that's the most simplest form to me. But anyway, going to GEDmatch, we have the origins of the MDLP project, which is the project that we'll be starting off with. So let's see what even is this. GEDmatch, as you know, you can take your DNA results from different programs and put them in there, and then it expands your research. Since the creator of the MDLP project is an Estonian blogger named Vadim Veneric. Excuse me, y'all. But anyway, shout out to this brother. In 2011, Veneric started a new project to focus on the heritage of an area covering the former Grand Duchy of Lithuania. This is also known as Magnus Ducatus Lithuaniae. He started a blog and issued a call for volunteers to send him DNA samples if their grandparents were Belarusians, Lithuanians, Poles from the east, or Latvians from Latvia. Veneric was helped get his project off the ground by David Ski of Eurogenes and Zach of Haplogroup. Like the others, he modified the admixture software from delegitimize of Todah Yah and created his own set of calculators for the MDLP project. The GEDmatch MDLP project dates back to 2012-2013. Bear in mind that all these GEDmatch projects are quite outdated, so they need to be updated. By the way, y'all, this is a website called datamining.com. It gave me the best breakdowns of all the calculators. So check that out on your own time, family. All right, let's get it in. Let's what's in that part. There have been recent discoveries of archaic DNA that are not reflected in MDLP, and more people have tested their DNA from diverse regions that aren't represented within the projects. However, the calculators can be very interesting to explore. Yes, they can. So let's get into it. Right here is talking about the MDLP populations, and it's talking about the numbers that you see. And it's saying the numbers change how many populations it's comparing you against. But it says that it gets less accurate the higher the number. So let's go to the first one we'll use is GEDmatch MDLP World 22. All right, so here we see admixture result on the World 22 MDLP, and it's saying first population is sub-Saharan African at 76.59%, which makes sense to us, you know. But let's continue. Northeast European at 4.16%. Near East at 3.88%, Pygmy at 3.64%, West Asian at 3.08%, and so on and so forth. But the things that's interesting to me are the Indo-Iranian, of course the Near East, the Northeast European, and the West Asian, and the Sub-Saharan African. We already know connects to these populations as well. So that could also be the source of these, the Near East or West Asian. Or it could be that little bit of Jewish that we see. But let's continue. The single population, the first one is Limba. And I believe they put Limba first because the Limba, if you don't know who the Limba are, they are a Jewish South African tribe who actually linked the Levites as well, which is interesting. That was our last topic. But they are a very mixed Bantu group, and so are African Americans. So I think we have similar gene structures to Limbas. But Here's the single population, which means if I was just one ethnic group, this is what it would be. And you see Mandinka at 3, which makes sense because of my maternal haplogroup. And Yoruba at 5, because most African Americans get Yoruba as the highest, because Nigeria had a lot of people taken into the slave trade. So in the mixed mode population sharing, we have Limba with a bunch of different populations that they think I could be mixed with. And the first one we see here is General Tartar, which is actually interesting because on the single population, at the end you see Makrani. So it's almost like you see a migration here. Secondly, we have Todah Lithuania Todah. We'll drop a video about them. I believe Khazarians went to Lithuania. We'll make a video about that maybe next. We have a Lut people. That's similar. That's a people group that's like Eskimos. So that's showing like migration from Central Asia. We see Todah Mishar people, which are close to original Hungarians, and Todah Croatian, which are also similar to the original Hungarians. They call them Eastern Hungarians. The Hungarians today are related to them, and they came from each other. So that's interesting. Also, just looking down at the rest of it, we see certain things like Nogai, Chuvash, Finnish, German, Komi, even Tajik, which is one of the Turkic tribes that we see. So this is all interesting. People groups we've talked about. All right. The next one is the regular MDLP World calculator. And this one only uses 12 populations, it says. There's a whole thread where people discuss about this calculator. So check this out on your own time if you want to read through that. It says that the consistency is that the smaller number of the populations were skewed east. And that makes sense. We've seen that it was made mainly for Eastern European populations. So people with North or Northwest European ancestry didn't really get good representation. So we'll keep that in mind as well. But we are looking for Eastern European ancestry to see where did this Eastern European haplogroup mine came from. It looks like they're pretty similar results in my opinion. Sub-Saharan African went down a little bit, but they replaced it with something called Paleo-African, which is probably the pygmy populations. They were there first before the Bantus came from North Africa and East. We got North and East European as our third population, which makes sense. We got the Caucasus, which makes sense. I am Ben Khazar. Southwest European, which I think is interesting because Southwest European, that's like the Italian area. This is where they say the Ashkenazi Jews migrated into Germany. We got Middle East, Arctic Amerindian, East Asian, Melanesian, Mesoamerican. These are all the early Turkish groups from Central Asia. So it's interesting that it's like we see migration again. It's like GEDmatch is real good at showing migrations. So down here, single populations, we got Limba, Bantu, Mandinka, Yoruba. We're gonna see those flip-flopping a little bit. Down at the bottom, we got Uzbek. That's cool, right? Shout out to my Uzbekian brothers. In our mixed mode population, we're getting more insight. It says you're a Bantu, maybe Tatar, Crimean Tatar, which we know that is pretty much a Khazarian population today. And we'll make videos on this population as we go forth. The Krimchaks, the Karites, these who are, I believe, are modern day Khazarians who didn't assimilate into Ashkenazim. We have Latvians, Gagos. Gagos are one of the Oghuz branches They are related to one of those Turkic groups. We have Tatars, Lithuania Tatars again. Some repeats. We have Bulgarian, which is cool. Shout out to the Bulgarians, which we know Bulgar, one of the brothers of Khazar. We got Ashkenazim there. Makes sense. Makes sense. Macedonian even. Nogai. We talked about the Nogai. Mordovian. We talked about Mordovian. The Serbs and the Croats down at the bottom. Shout out to Sarmatians. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I would have had no clue. The next one that I want to use is in a different calculator called Eurogenes. So let's go to a certain test that I heard you should use on here for Jewish ancestry called the J-test. And we have West African at the top, of course. Shout out to E1b1a, my Israelites. I really believe that the West Africans are the tribes of Ephraim and the 10 tribes mixed in with some of the Southern Kingdom. But if you want to see more about that, check out my other channel. East African. We seen that Maasai in the MyHeritage. We got South Baltic. That's like Latvia, Lithuania, Atlantic, North Central Europe, Western Mediterranean, East Asian, West Asian, Ashkenazi, Middle Eastern, South Asian, and Eastern European. So this one does have Eastern European separate from Ashkenazi, which is interesting. Down here, single population. We got Luya, which is a East African Bantu tribe. I believe that HU is Hungarian, RO Romanian, and PT. I'm not really sure what PT is. AT, I believe, is Austrian. AJ is Ashkenazi Jewish. ES must be Estonian. Maybe FR French, and IQ Iraq, maybe, or something. I don't know. If you know, put it in the comments. But we got Yoruba here for mixed mode. They put Yoruba for the African population. And then we got Hungarian, Austrian, and Romania at the top 3, which makes complete sense. Just sharing with you guys. Now, when I do the other Eurogenes test, they pretty much come out similar to this. And most of the rest of the tests come out similar to this. You usually get Yoruba, Bantu, or Mandinka mixed in with some population, such as Hungarian, Romanian. Sometimes you would get German in there. But in the African test. And we got some Morocco Jews in there. So shout out to the Morocco Jews we just talked about. Gene flow into Morocco Jews. In the DOCAD, we ended up getting Yemenis Jews, Samaritans, Iranians, Hungarian, Azerbaijani Jews. Lots of interesting combinations. This test was interesting because it was ancient results. And here on your ancient results, I see we have Shrubnaya culture, coded word culture, Androvano culture, and then Scythians are even on there. Number 4. In the punt K10, we see another kind of like a migration pattern. African American at the top, going all the way down to Kikiyu. We got Gambian, Mandinka, Mende. That's pretty accurate maternally. We got Maasai, just like MyHeritage. And then all the way down at the bottom, I see Uzbek and Nogai. Same populations that would match Khazarians. Very interesting to see. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. Just a quick look at my admixture, and probably the final look into my DNA. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. And until I think of something else to talk about DNA with, we'll probably get into some more historical things now and really examine the Khazars and their Judaism and their history. Continue to have a blessed day. Like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, shalom.